curious one there, as Jace, very, very good 1v1 champion, will be Vert's last ban. So it is now blind pick time. Vert has locked in Varus. We'll see what Faker wants to play here. Oh, all right, it's time for Nasus.
The insta-lock Nasus, I actually think if Vert plays this well, he should have a bit of an advantage here. It's going to be really interesting to see if Faker is going to stick with these masteries, because yes, you have Wither, yes, you have Exhaust to hold him down and try to catch up, but if you do not take Flash, if you do not take Ghost or any sort of speed-up type mastery, then you're relying on something like maybe Phase Rush, or just trying to push in your opponent with perhaps something like Comet and an Emax, going maybe more of an AP Nasus or a hybrid Nasus, because that does have very powerful poke. And in that case, you're looking much more for a win on CS. You're not really going to kill the person unless they kind of opt into staying around too long and get poked out.
And I think that's kind of a great point to start here, is that a champion like Nasus in this sort of environment is kind of playing more to 1 or 1.5 win conditions, whereas the reason I think ADs are so good is because they are very flexible. You already want to farm on Summoner's Rift, you can do that here. You're obviously good in Sieges if you can try and knock down the turret, and if a scrap breaks out and you need to fight, you can also do that as well. It's really why ADCs are so common at All-Stars in the 1v1 mode.
Yeah, exactly. It is going to be Airy for Faker. It's Comet there for Vert. So it is going to be much more about the poke, right? It's going to be seeing which player is going to be able to push the other one out. And Faker is going to be starting Doran's Ring, so he certainly is going more of the AP Nasus type of route, whereas Vert is going to be starting Longsword 3-pot. So he's trying to be able to kind of withstand the poke, and it's going to be a lot about how many skill shots can Vert actually hit. There's not really a lot of dodging to be done with Nasus's E. It's so big, and you know, it's going to be more down, I think, to how well Vert plays rather than how well Faker plays, because it's such a binary champion when you're playing Nasus without Flash, without Snowball, without Ghost, or anything like that going on.
Yep, two defensive summoners for both their Barrier and Exhaust. Kind of key to point out there. And again, even though this looks like the Howling Abyss, it is almost the same map you play on ARAM. The one difference, I believe, is that you can recall, so the players are allowed to get shots in.
Yep, exactly. You can use base timings, you can control minion waves. There's all of those same strategies here in this 1v1 mode. If you can freeze on your opponent, then great, you can go for these sorts of things. But as we see, you know, Vert already going to be taking quite a bit of damage, and Faker's trying to kind of utilize the brush. Just there's no wards on this map, so being able to sit in that side brush makes it so that the range disadvantage is not as big of a deal. And you know, Vert at level 1 maybe at a bit of a disadvantage, but as he hits level 2, gets the piercing arrow, he's going to really need to start hitting those skill shots, hitting his Qs, poking Faker down, and trying to maintain some wave control.
Well, again, had a quick check-in on the runes, actually. Had production feed us those. Nothing too stand out there. So, again, just very kind of standard laning masteries here, or laning runes, sorry, between these two.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. So Faker is obviously going sorcery main tree, but second wind, Iron Skin, kind of as expected, the defensive secondary tree is much more built for just kind of surviving this matchup, even though he is, you know, going AP at least to start. And I do think also Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter is a little bit interesting here from Vert. So once again, he's not going into Resolve, but he is going Domination for those heals. Every time he hits Faker, you know, there is a cooldown, but you can get the heal back from Taste of Blood. You can get some healing on your abilities from Ravenous Hunter here as well. So pretty standard stuff on both sides. Both of them going to take Mana Flow Ban. Try to keep that poke up as much as possible.
Yeah, and again, poke-centric Keystones as well with Airy versus Comet. And looks like Vert kind of doing what we expect as the levels creep up for these two, pushing the wave in a little bit more, going to hopefully for him force Faker back under the turret. You can see CS right now actually sitting a little up for Vert, but Faker does continue to get that harass down, but 230 also does tick by Vert, getting that first health relic.
And Faker even going 2 points E before Wither, so once again, very much so a focus just on farming, just on harassing. But I do feel like if Vert can stabilize this is super winnable, right? This is really, the ball is kind of in his court as far as this 1v1 goes, because there's nothing surprising Faker can really do to you on a Nasus without a move block and without a summoner spell to actually close that gap.
Yep, no Snowball, no Flash, no Ghost, no nothing to really get him in range. So there's going to be a lot of trading. Again, Vert still up on CS, but looking a little low on health, unfortunately for him. Faker getting a bit better of the trades using that E constantly.
And he is out of potions. So Vert honestly is going to have to base. And if you base in this situation, you start to actually give up the minion advantage that you have, right? Because it is tied right now. Vert is kind of trying to greed it out and CS some of these last minions, but basing in this position, he's trying to hope basically that the cannon will delay Faker enough and sees that he is going to be pushed in. But if you stay around too much, if you get hit by 1 or 2 more E's, you're very easily diveable.
Yeah, certainly diving is possible in this game mode. Definitely a lot more dangerous when you don't have a mobility summoner, but again, Faker just with that harass.
Yeah, I mean, you hit one more E and he could die, right? So definitely has to go back to base now, and Faker's actually getting control of the health relics, so just straight up pushing him out, and we're gonna have to see what the actual buy is gonna be for Vert. Double Doran's Blade, a bunch more potions so far, so is gonna be trying to have the extra HP, have enough lifesteal that hopefully he can kind of sustain through this.
Yep, and we see a lot of Dorans, of course, in this game mode because they are very cost effective. That's really all you want is stats right now. Faker mixing it up, again, really itemizing towards that farm win that you expected. Glacial Shroud done, got some extra potion, and of course, even a rejuvenation bead. Doesn't seem like it makes a big difference in Summoner's Rift, but makes a very big difference in this game mode.
Yeah, it certainly can, and when it's down to just kind of outlasting your opponent, any little bit of regen you can get is going to be useful. The Glacial Shroud, as you said, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, having a little bit of armor there is going to tank you up, but it's also for the mana, for the CDR there too, going to allow him to spam more and more and more E's, because if he cannot actually push Vert back, if Vert can kind of lifesteal and sustain actually through the damage that is coming out, it can start to get pretty rough, I think, for Faker on this Nasus, but I mean, so far so good for him.
Yeah, and again, Faker's last hitting him in is a player that's certainly renowned in his lane for being able to hit those creeps. I saw Vert miss a couple here and there. I mean, it can be tough on any stage to actually last hit creeps, and if that's kind of the condition that you or your opponent, or both of you perhaps in this case, are going for, certainly not a good thing when you fall behind even a couple creeps. We've seen 1v1 matches go down to the literal last creep before, so halfway already there for both now, actually. 56 to 50 on that CS count.
Yeah, and honestly, when you do start to get to the CS disadvantage, it can pressure you into playing more risky. It can pressure you into trying to all in or trying to do something crazy, which if the other players continue to play smart, just puts you at even more of a disadvantage. So, you know, Faker definitely playing more of a slow approach than perhaps people would prefer from the 1v1s, but this could be his pick. This could be the strategy. We've seen Nasus come out in the past, but it, in my opinion, is just even stronger with the new runes because of Mana Flow Ban, because of Aerie, because of some of these masteries that he has actually chosen. It's going to allow him to stay out there and not run out of mana for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that wave almost instantly evaporated as Faker, with now 4 points in that E, was able to Spirit Fire it down. Vert continuing to take harass. Faker even has extra mana to burn there, and kind of looking at these two champions, we are now at above level 6, 8, and 7 for Faker and Vert respectively. I don't think these are champions, though, that have particularly impactful ultimates as far as getting a kill. Maybe for Faker, it just keeps him alive in an all-in, which again, if you're going for a CS win, is all you need. Now he's actually 10 ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say that Vert has a very impactful ultimate for killing if you can poke your opponent down, but it's not like you can just ult a full HP Nasus, who has a Glacial Shroud, who has Barrier, who has Exhaust, and just kill him. And honestly, at this point, when you're down 15 CS and you just base now, it's your only real chance is trying to get some sort of an all-in. I don't think you can expect Faker to miss enough farm that is going to be a viable win strategy. Faker has an easy base right now. It's a serrated Dirk for Vert, which is not going to be very effective. It's like that. Building flat armor pen is really strong against people who are not building armor, who are squishies, but because Faker already has a Glacial Shroud, he has tabbies now as well, it's not really going to get anything done for him, so it's looking pretty grim.
I think tabbies is the huge buy there, actually. Yeah. I mean, that item is already insanely efficient in every game mode, and in this particular situation, it feels almost untenable for Vert.
Yeah, and when your opponent has no boots, Faker actually does have the option to try to run him down now because you have such a movement speed advantage. If he pushes up like this, you could actually try to go for more of the style play and just try to walk up and kill him. But for now, Vert's got to kind of choose his moment. You're not going to win on farm by kind of playing it out slowly at this point. So you have to go for the all-in and kind of hope something's going to happen. Otherwise, it's getting close to kind of just a straight-up CS defeat.
Yep, we've got pretty much 2 waves.
Yeah, 2 waves.
Faker hits 89, so not a lot left.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, Faker could just get the rest of CS from range with his E, right? And Faker may actually go for the all-in here, but
might as well pressure, have a lot of health and your ultimate to work with. Faker waiting on that E cooldown, just going to slam it down when he sees the moment. And again, more farm falls, only 5 left now for Faker. Even takes the relic off of Vert's side of the map.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, it's too late.
He's going to proxy.
Go behind.
Oh, gets Standing Corruption.
Maybe it's not on him, though. So he's not really in any danger at all. He can just walk back out, this is the last wave he needs access to. I feel like Faker's kind of messing with him at
Yeah.
this point. He still has his ultimate. He's just going to go into finish.
He's got barrier as well, and exhaust, really nothing to worry about. Exhaust down there for Vert, but the wave are just ticking down. Faker needs
One
one
more.
more CS. They're
He's
going to
gonna
go
go
in
for
for
the
the
kill.
Mano. An exhaust down, a barrier pop of Vert, but Faker will get the final
Oh.
say.
Faker with the +6 to finish him off.
I was at 99 CS, I needed one more, and you were it, Vert. Faker with a super stylish 100 CS win.
Yeah, he was the 100th CS himself, as you said. So Vert giving his best there, but it seemed like Faker kind of just outthought him a little bit. I mean, if you're both going to go defensive, Faker had better control of the mini wave. He's able to push him out, with the mana flow ban, with the Emax and the Airy. Pretty much just a well thought out strategy there from Faker, and it'll be interesting to see if, based on this game, other people